Entertainment Network. Please subscribe, hit that like button, and as always, leave a comment, and thank you for enjoying the video.
Shot to right, slicing toward the pesky pole, down the line, and it's going to be out of here! Line down the right field line toward the pesky pole, leaping up, and that ball is gone! That's a home run! A lot of our Nesson team as well. High fly down the right field line, headed toward the pesky pole. That one tucked in, and that ball is going to be against the wall and into second base. Number retired, and now Rafael Devers trying to retire that baseball inside the pesky pole.
Welcome to another episode of the Pesky Podcast. I'm your host, the Ritt. With me, like always, is the OG George Sutherland, and today, this is episode 100, titled Houckamania, brought to you by BSEN 617. And this is episode 100, and we wanted to make this special. So we have with us today Ashlee Lambert, who works for Caritas Family Solutions, works hand in hand with the man himself, Tanner Houck. Ashlee, how are you? What is going on today? Thank you for giving us some of your time through the busy schedule.
Hi, thank you for having me. We're excited to be on this podcast to just share a little bit about the work that Tanner does to make sure the youth in our care just feel special, know that they have a hero in their corner, especially this year with how phenomenal Tanner is doing. Our kids would be more excited to have kind of big brother or Uncle Tanner out there just doing a great job. So thank you for letting me come on and chat about that.
Well, let's sit there and roll out, a little bit. We'll go back and forth of how we got to work with Tanner and Jonathan Papelbon. And then, you can chime in on, what Tanner does for those great kids over there at Caritas Family Solutions. So I'm going to play this video real quick of pretty much the debut of the emergence of Houckamania.
Okay, because you already started the domination. What do you think about Houckamania?
Listen, whatever you
we need some Houckamania.
Put on a t-shirt. Whatever you want to come up with.
You just keep dominating, and I'm going to turn you into Houckamania.
There you go. I like that. This year, Andrew Bailey.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a Nesson post game, and it was ironic because I was watching it, and we actually here at the time it was just a Pesky Podcast. Now we are under Boston Sports Entertainment Network. We actually had a shirt, which I'm wearing one of them now, Houckamania. I was always a huge '80s wrestling fan, and I was like, Houckamania, like let's put them together and put a shirt out. Sold a couple, and nothing really turned about to it up until the point when Papelbon said that, live on the air, and it was absolutely, it seems to me that Tanner is just a laid back guy. He will go with the flow. He's concentrated on the work, pitching for the Red Sox, and he's just letting everything else just, go, the way it is. So Ashlee, is what kind of personality is that the kind of guy Tanner is, just laid back, goes with the flow?
Yeah, so all of our interactions with Tanner have been exactly what you said, like super laid back, go with the flow. So at Caritas, one of the programs that Tanner supports is our youth support center. So this is a center where kids that have unfortunately experienced a lot of trauma in their life, and so they are in foster care, and they need to stay in a therapeutic setting. So these kids just have been dealt a rough set of hands. Tanner comes and just hangs out with them. He's just like one of the kids. I have seen him play video games, play cards. One of the times, one of the young ladies at one of our residents, she stepped in and started acting like his manager. And all the other kids were coming up with their T-shirts and their tennis shoes and asking him for all these autographs. And she would step in and be like, he needs a break. He needs a break. And he was just going with the flow. He's like, it's fine. It's fine. She's my handler for the day. So he really is just super laid back. As long as you're not hurting anyone or, he's like, all right, whatever goes kind of thing. And the kids just eat it up.
Yeah. So I'll sit there and play part 2 of once we sent them the shirts and everything. It's very quite funny.
Sound?
Can't hear?
No.
Can't hear. Technical difficulties, of course.
It happens.
Of course.
Right?
Well, at least you guys told me.
Yep.
So let's sit there and stop this and present. Share screen. There we go.
I really don't think about it. I know I know I have a job to do, and I gotta prepare for my next outing against these guys in Cleveland. But Houckamania, I'll let Pat keep. I'll let him keep pushing that.
See, he knows who's the brains behind it.
He knows who's gonna make him that cheese. Once we start dealing, we gotta make see when your first few years, you're not getting paid a whole lot of money.
True.
Right? So you got to make that off the field cheese. So, you got to start
Here you go. And your guys, B-Sen.
Yeah, go to charity. It's going to charity.
One thing you got to look at, though. You got Houckamania, you got The Rock, and you got Mini-Me.
Well, let's get to that. So, hold up the shirts.
Yeah.
The guys from B-Sen did
Tanner, I got you one coming, man.
I got a little bit of an issue. They either think that I'm, incredibly fit.
Yeah.
Or that I take a child's large. I think you guys at the Pesky Podcast, if you could just get me one that fits.
BSEN617.com. Get your T-shirts.
But the thing is, though, easier to rip off.
True.
Wear it tight, couple sizes tight.
True
rip that right
That's
off.
a very good point, TC. Always thinking, man.
Always thinking. Coming off the top rope with that one.
Yeah. The snafu was. I didn't pay attention. I grabbed large at the store, and I didn't know that someone threw a child's large in there. So that was quite funny with that. But that was pretty much the start of everything. And then I was reaching out to anybody and everybody I can, and that's when they pointed me in your direction. And you and I have been working together, chatting back and forth ever since.
Yeah, that is hilarious. Those guys seem like a great time too. Happy that they coined the term Houckamania, and Tanner deserves it. And thank you for reaching out to us. I think our kids will be very excited when they receive their T-shirts. Thank you for being gracious enough to offer to get all of our youth shirts. There are about 42 kids right now at the center, and they will be very excited. Each year, Tanner makes sure to get them something special to make them feel just loved and supported. So I think this is just the icing on the cake, something fun for them to wear. Also, because they did just recently go to WWE, so I think they'll get the play on words there too.
Awesome.
George, you have anything?
Yeah. So, why don't you talk about some of the programs that Caritas does in the Southern Illinois area, and your ability to reach out and help kids in need. So
most definitely. Thank you for that, George. So Caritas Family Solutions, we're a human services nonprofit providing love, care, and support to individuals across the continuum of life, just helping them to live very fulfilled lives. We are the largest provider of foster care services in Southern Illinois, and about the second or third largest in the entire state of Illinois. So what that means is we have about 1,200 kids in foster care underneath our management at any one time, about 1,500 kids annually. It's quite a few. And we're able to help those kids get into permanent homes really quickly. About 45% of our youth receive what they call permanency every year. So they're either returned back to their family of origin, or they are adopted, or they gain independence, and so they're out of foster care. We also have programs like homes for adults with developmental disabilities. We have assisted living for low-income seniors. We also have counseling services. We have an adoption program for individuals that are facing that difficult decision of whether to parent or to make a loving adoption plan. And then the programs that Tanner has really taken under his wing is our youth support center. Within that residential facility, we have 3 different programs. One is a therapeutic treatment center. So those are for those kids I was talking about earlier that have just experienced such levels of trauma. They need 24-hour-a-day care to work through those and be able to go back into a family setting. Then we have an emergency shelter. So that's, again, for youth that are in the Department of Children and Family Services care. And they have no other placement option. So kids that get brought into foster care in the middle of the night, or if they've been discharged from a hospital or a psychiatric unit, and they just need somewhere to go until we can find them a foster home. And then we also have a teen parenting program. So this is for young ladies that are in DCFS care, and they've also found themselves pregnant. So in order to keep them together, teach this young mother the life skills that she needs to be independent, she comes to us and we teach her all those things while she also learns how to be a successful parent. Tanner's really supports the youth support center. He comes at least once a year, if not 2 to 3 times a year. Usually during the holidays is when he can come the most because he comes to visit his mom and his sister. His sister is one of the inspirations for wanting to give back to youth in care. He has shared before on public platforms that his sister is adopted. And so he just sees the need for children that are experiencing being not within their family of origin, needing some extra love, care, support, and you just make sure that our kids know that there's someone out there. And what better person to do that than a Major League Baseball player that they can go to school and brag about that a little bit. So that's a little bit about Caritas and a little bit about how Tanner became involved with us. What other questions you may have about Caritas, or what do you think your listeners might want to hear about the things that we do here in Illinois?
Well, I think you were pretty generous with some of the programs you have. Now how many locations do you have? Throughout the state.
We cover the southernmost 55 counties of Illinois, so about half of the state of Illinois.
Wow.
And quite the geographic footprint. We have, I think, roughly 6 program locations with like office spaces, and then we have various different program locations, whether that be the homes for adults with developmental disabilities. We also have the assisted living that's way out in Olney, Illinois, which is almost to Indiana. So I'd say on average, probably about 15-ish. But that's a good question. Now I'm going to have to prepare for that better next time.
Sorry, I caught you off guard.
You caught me off guard, but exactly how many locations we have, because it can change by the day.
Oh yeah, well of course. I mean, and it's and I'm not going to speak for Ritt or our other partner DC, but for me, family and doing the right thing for children and helping children, there's nothing more important than anyone can do. And I know that my wife and I try to do what we can. I live in southern Maine. We try to help and make a difference. And I know that family and friends are important to both DC, Ritt, and I. So to see firsthand that people can make a difference, and that people like Tanner, who for Boston fans, they look at it, he's a pitcher, but he's a human being beside that, and to take time and do something as special as this is really something, and it's something that fans appreciate in Boston because it's the right thing to do. And sometimes professional athletes get branded, they don't care or whatever, and then you see guys like Tanner, and you say thank you, because he does make a difference.
He really does. And So one of the things with his Pitch for Adoption nonprofit or foundation, which he has, is he helps make monetary contributions to support the kids at our youth center. And last year, the Major League Baseball Players Association made a match to that with his award that he received for his charitable contributions to Caritas. And what he helped do is he helped purchase things that the state doesn't pay for, because a lot of times people think about nonprofits, we have government funding, how can people make a difference? And what he did is he helped us purchase music players for each child and build a music library. And so now every youth that comes to our center gets an MP3 player, and they get to choose from all the music on the music library, and they get to pick a new album to add to the music library. Because music is therapeutic for a lot of people, but on the same hand, if you're not listening to the right music, it also can be triggering. And so by having the music library, we can make sure that it's music that motivates and empowers and inspires our youth. And also might even help them stay active and do some different things. And so that's one of the things that he most recently helped us do. But also he helps us, his monetary contributions or stuff like the percentage from the Houckamania t-shirts is getting our kids out into the community. Earlier I mentioned that they got to go to WWE and have that just life experience that kids and families should experience. Like, even as a parent myself, sometimes those memories are even a core memory just for me, not just for my kids, seeing them experience it. We do that with our kids too. And those aren't things that are always paid for by the state. Going and to the pumpkin patch and picking a pumpkin that's 27 times marked up compared to if you just go to the grocery store and buy it. But it's still the experience of going to the pumpkin patch or, going and doing those things. Monetary gifts are helping that happen. And Tanner's been really instrumental for the youth center to be able to do all that kind of stuff. The kids love the MP3 players.
Oh yeah,
that's one thing. Actually, when you and I were talking, and you explained to me, because I'm thinking that the state, the government helps out, with more than what I thought. And when you broke it down to me, like, even you said simple things like going to the YMCA and stuff like that. That's what all this extra donations get to go and help the kids do. That's why I'm glad that, we sit there and are trying to help you more. We set a goal for $500 for this season. And, we started late. We started at the end of April. But so far, we've donated $126 to you guys, and we're 20%, there, a little over 20% of our goal. And I'm working back and forth with Jonathan Papelbon. I'm trying to do other things. Him and I just came up with Papelbon shirt, a Cinco Ocho shirt that will also get 20% of his sales. Will also, be going to your guys' charity.
Thank you.
So it's just that, anything, like you said, the memories are sometimes that's a great way to work yourself through problems. And then you have that great memory of, going to the pumpkin patch, going to, WWE, which is quite ironic, like you said. Now the kids can put two and two together when they get the shirts. Right. Of okay, it was a wrestling and Tanner thing. So, but how much interaction do the kids have with people in the community? Do they do like charities work also to try to help them work through everything?
So yeah, we try to integrate our youth into the community as much as possible, because at the end of the day, they're youth. They need to do all of those things. They need to know that they're a part of a bigger community. And so people come in and do quote unquote volunteer work, or really just hang out with the kids. So last week we even had a bank that's really close to us come in and teach them financial literacy. Some of our youth are approaching 18 years old, so they need to have some of those skills. On Tuesdays, we have a therapy dog that comes in that loves the kids and gets to interact with them. But also our youth go to school every day, just like any other children. They go to public schools in the community when they're able to. Otherwise, they go to schools that can fit their needs a little better. We are going on at least 2, sometimes 3 or 4 community outings a week. One of our first residents of our emergency shelter, because we just opened that about a year ago, within his first month, because the emergency shelter, we try to only have the kids there for 30 to 90 days, so it's a shorter term. In 30 days, he was able to do experiences that he had never had before. So like he went to Six Flags, St. Louis, one of the first things he did, and he went to a couple other community places that are like the zoo and big places. He never got to experience that before. Since then, he's went on to a home setting, but he came back recently for a visit. And what he shared with the staff and why he came back was, first, is because it's the first time that he ever felt connected to anybody enough to actually want to visit them afterwards. And that he missed them. But then he said that it was the first time that he ever felt safe and loved, which tugs on your heartstrings a bit to think that a teenager had never experienced that before, but also speaks volumes to the environment that we're able to create for these kids to heal and dream again. And it's a big part of it, the community being able to make that happen. People like Tanner, people like you guys, and also just our staff that go above and beyond every single day to give them those experiences that they can hold on to for a lifetime.
Wow. Yeah.
So when the kids interact in the community and whatever, sometimes it's hard to, all of us who are parents, the kids don't always show their true emotions on things and whatever. Do you see the effect on it sometimes, days and maybe, weeks later, where they begin to be a little bit more at ease with the situation that they're in, and have a sense of normalcy in, given that some of them have come from situations that are in no way normal or correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably based on each individual child, and much like any other process, I think it probably ebbs and flows for them. Sometimes things are going to feel a little bit more normal, and other times not so much. We do everything in our power, though, to make the environment as quote unquote normal as possible for them. It is a residential setting, though, and kids just don't belong growing up in a residential setting, and so we do our best to get them into a family unit as quickly as possible. But also, whenever they might experience something that does give them a trigger for their past experience trauma,
right.
We have trained staff there 24 hours a day to help them process that. Mm-hmm. Because it does happen. They might go on one of these community outings and it might remind them of something that's happened in their past. And then they come home and have some different feelings about it. And we have trained staff that are just equipped and ready to help them in that situation.
Good. Now, how long have you been involved with Caritas?
I have been with the organization for about 12 and a half years. I started my tenure as being a foster care case manager. So I did direct service working with kids and their families. And then I now work on our executive leadership team. And my main role is to involve the community in how we can positively impact other people's lives.
Terrific. Are there any particular needs that you'd like to see met that aren't, that perhaps our listeners and viewers, could get in touch with you? We're working hard to do the T-shirt thing and, taking the proceeds from that and, helping support the program. But are there other opportunities that, that need special attention that, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, they could?
If there's anyone local that's listeners to the St. Louis Metro East, we're always looking for volunteers, different people that have some sort of talent or interest or way that they would like to invest their time. we always have a need for that, especially with the Children's Center, if we can have a constant. So a lot of times the children are looking for consistency. And so like one of the ways right now we have consistent volunteers is they do music lessons. So teach your kids to play the drums, play the trombone, all the different things. It's very therapeutic for the kids, and they have just so much fun. But those volunteers come back every single week. So that way, not only kids learning about music, but they're learning about commitment and valued relationships and all of those things. So if we have anybody local that's interested in doing some volunteer work, we could do that. For your listeners that are everywhere from Boston to Maine and all the places, obviously financial contributions help us in many ways. One of the programs I talked about with the teen parenting program, the teen mother, that is, she's in the state's custody. So we do receive financial support to take care of her, but she has not abused or neglected her baby. So the baby is not. The state believes that teen mother should also be financially responsible for her baby. So while she's overcoming traumas, learning how to be a young adult, getting her education, getting a job, she's also expected to do that. And while we want to make sure that she's mentally and emotionally set up for future and success in the future, we help financially for the baby. And so that's about $15 a day. So things like diapers, wipes, formula, food, clothing, those types of things. And so financial contributions help if you're from afar and you'd like to. Otherwise, if you're close, we look for investment of time.
Okay. Terrific. Ritt?
Actually, you said you were talking about the story about the boy that came back and, was talking. How often, do you have children come back after they have found, a foster family, or even after they're able to take care of themselves? Do they come back and, just show you how well they are doing?
I wouldn't say that it's super common, but it does happen. And I think a lot of times it doesn't always happen because almost like we're talking about like getting re-triggered or reliving their trauma. We always say that while Caritas is, making a huge difference in people's lives, it's not necessarily an alumni group that you want to be a part of. And so our way that we know that we were successful is that our children do not need us in the future, that they are able to go on and live those fulfilled lives and be successful. But we do have directly that youth that just felt so connected, he wanted to come back and share that he was doing okay. And when they do come back, we welcome them with open arms, of course.
What are some interactions with the kids when they find out, that Tanner is a part of, they're helping them, and their first interactions with him? Because I know, if I would get to meet him, I would sit there and be like, okay, this is off the record, act like a giddy, little schoolgirl, and then the professional side would come out. But what are some of the great interactions and stories that you can share about the children meeting Tanner for the first time?
Yeah, so we get all kinds of reactions when he's in person. Of course, people are like, wow, you're so tall, and things like that. So one time he wasn't able to come back and visit the kids, but so he did a Zoom call with them from the stadium and gave them a tour. And then afterwards he did some question and answer. So obviously that should be prepping the youth that he's a Major League Baseball player, he kind of set the stage for them. But they asked questions all over the place. like everything from what do you do for a living? And he's like, kind of a Major League Baseball player. He says it very nicely, though. He has the best way to interact and respond to the kids. They asked him, what do you eat for dinner? They asked him if he liked McDonald's, and they were completely shocked when he told them that he does not eat McDonald's. So if you think, a 10 or 12-year-old, they're like, what? You don't eat McDonald's? Yeah, so he's also shared some pretty special moments with the kids. Like when he was preparing to propose to his now wife, he shared that with them before he proposed.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he really just cares about them, and he wants them to know that. that he does, because I think he just understands from a personal point of view how sometimes the kids in these situations don't always feel the love, and he wants to make sure they know that. Most recently, our kids all made like, way to go, Tanner, keep it up, Tanner, like all like bunch of artwork, and we mailed it to him for a surprise to let him know that while he cheers them on every day, that we're also cheering him on. So it's fun. Like I said, he plays video games with them, signs autographs, brings them breakfast and lunch and stuff when he comes in, and he just sits right down with them at the kitchen table or wherever they're eating and eats with them. And he's just a big kid at heart, if you ask me, and our youth just love it.
Super.
How often do you guys, or do they get to watch him pitch when he's pitching, a game?
So we do have TV, and we try to stream it and different things. So I think lately they've been watching it a little more, obviously with the celebration and the Houckamania phase and doing all that well. But we make sure that they watch it as much as possible. It just kind of depends on when they play and what activities the kids are doing that day.
Okay, George?
Obviously, meeting any major league ball player, if you're a kid, is like, wow, that's like somebody who does this just for a living is great. And the fact that Tanner's kind of like very low key about the whole thing. When you talk about, the questions they ask, I mean, any particular special stories that come out about those interactions with the kids that like perhaps came out of nowhere,
Yeah, I would say probably the most impactful time was it was going into the holidays, and he was interacting with the youth, and I believe it was on a video conference call, if I recall correctly, and his mom was on the call too, and he was just interacting. And then they asked, if you could have anything for Christmas, like what do you want for Christmas? And one of the young boys, young gentleman, I should say, said, I just want a comfortable bed. And I think just as much as you guys probably felt that a little bit tug on your heartstrings, it hit the Hawks as well. And so that year they made sure to get, bedding and new pillows and all the things for all the youth at the Children's Center. I think that's the year that they showed up to the Children's Center and they had to rent a delivery truck to bring the stuff, because it just so impacted Tanner that I think sometimes when we think about kids, we do think about like the WWE experiences, and we think about Six Flags and the extras or the life enhancements, and for them, it sometimes boils down to the things that we take for granted, like a comfortable bed. So that's one of the ones that really sticks out to me. That was an emotional moment, but Tanner made sure to step in when he could.
Special guy.
He really is.
Well, Ashlee, this is going to be the last video that we play for you. This is a video that commercial-ish that Jonathan Papelbon wanted to send in for this episode for you guys, for Tanner, and for ourselves.
Hey, what's up? This is Jonathan Papelbon, 2007 World Champ with the Boston Red Sox. Red Sox all-time saves leader, 6-time All-Star, Red Sox Hall of Famer. And I just want to say go to the website, bses617.square.site. The Pesky Podcast, myself, we are giving away Houckamania t-shirts at 20% off, man. The charity, the Caritas Family Solutions, it's going to that. So it's going to a great cause. So y'all go get your shirts. Get ready for Houckamania. Tanner Houck going to be an all-star this year. Maybe future Red Sox Hall of Famer like myself. So go get it, baby. Houckamania.
That's awesome.
Man, I sit there and I love talking to Pap, and he is 100% behind this. And Tanner keeps doing the amazing job he's doing. But Ashlee, I want to thank you for stopping by. Please, we call a small segment around the poll for you. Any final thoughts, final words, and please tell everybody where they can send donations to to help out.
Yeah, thank you both so much for having me on the Pesky Podcast to share a little bit about Tanner and his mission to help our youth at our Caritas Family Solutions Youth Center. For anyone that's interested in making a donation, you can visit our website at www.caritasfamilysolutions.org. And then there'll be a donate button for you, and we appreciate it. And if anybody has any questions, any of your listeners, they can reach out to me, Ashlee Lambert, and I'm listed on the website. And just again, thank you so very much. We're very excited for Tanner and his awesome season, and we know that this is just the start of his Houckamania progress. So, thank you.
Yeah, guys, if you go to the website, it is so easy. I figured out how to do it, and I did it I had to use a little help. I had to reach out to Ashlee to make sure that I was doing it correctly. But it's really simple. It's going for a great cause. We have multiple things on our website. We actually have a bundle pack. You can get a Houckamania and a Cinco Ocho shirt. Both of them, and 20% of that goes to Caritas Family Solutions. So, George, any final thoughts?
No, this is terrific. I mean, we talk baseball and we talk games and we talk strategies and things like that. But you know what? It's a game, and the players are people, and it's always nice to see a player like Tanner just do something and not really try to draw attention to himself. He just wants to do it and be a good person. And if nothing else, that's a good lesson to every child and every person. So yeah, I'm just happy that we could kind of help you advance the cause. And thank you for coming on with us. This has been absolutely fabulous.
Thank you.
So, well, guys, head on over to our website, bsen617.square.site, and sit there and order your merchandise. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and on YouTube, BSEN617, and check us out where all podcasts are available: Apple, iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. But for the Ritt, for the OG George Sutherland, and for Ashlee, check us out next time on the Pesky Podcast.